Hello, Rooted Cafe. Welcome. I am happy you're here. I know it is a beautiful day out. You have breath in your lungs. You have decided to meet with the Father, and we're happy you're here. And so, before we get started, I always love to pray. So let's go. Oh, Father, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for life, for women, for moms. Father, thank you for your creation. Father, for your festivals, your feasts. Thank you for the appointed time that you want to meet with us. Father, and as we prepare for Shavuot, we come to you with open hands. We want to learn and grow and have you just pour out your spirit in us. Father, we want to have you direct us and guide us and lead us. And I pray that this time that the women that are listening, that they will just be encouraged, maybe learn something new, as well as bring this into their homes, Father, to continue in the legacy that you have already started in their lives. Father, with their families. And I pray that the words of my mouth would be glorifying to you, that there would be nothing that would hurt anyone's relationship with you, but that it would just grow them in you. Thank you, Father. Bless these women, bless their homes. May they have a beautiful, beautiful Shavuot and help them to prepare. Thank you. In Yeshua's name. Amen. All right. So it is almost Shavuot, and so, I thought it would be kind of fun this time to, uh, create a cookbook. I've wanted to in the past, but I haven't, and, I think it's kind of appropriate that this is the time that I'm doing it because, it's the day we were given directions, right? Given directions on how to live this life, what to do, how to play on this big playground we call the world, we call our communities. So, this is a cookbook that we're going to be giving you. We're going to put the link in the comments so that you can get it, and we'll also load it up into the Rooted Cafe platform so that you'll have it there. And I would love for you to share it with others. We will probably be adding on to this. I know I will be adding on to this as the years continue because every year we get to celebrate, we get to meet with him and fellowship with him. So, Shavuot, it occurs on the sixth day of the month of Sivan in the Hebrew calendar. And this is the new moon coming up, Sivan, and we find that Shavuot is during that month. So, if you've joined me in the past, you know that this time I have been teaching on what is the feast or what is it that he asks us to do during the month as an observance, a hands-on, let's get into this, let's do this observance. And so uh, this month is Shavuot. And so the Feast of Weeks, you may hear it called, Pentecost for some of you. It's the day that he gave us the Torah. He gave us the Torah, and then he gave us his spirit on this day. Same day, years apart, but same day. And I just love that. We've been counting the Omer. We are on, I believe it's day 38 now. And so, Shavuot comes 50 days um, after the feast of Passover and of unleavened bread. We've been counting. Shavuot is one of the biblical feasts, that holidays that we make that pilgrimage to Jerusalem if we can. It was asked of us to do that. And so we try, and so it's a fun time for us as believers and, get to celebrate with him. So it is also the grain harvest. And for Shavuot, I love that there are traditions. We may have stepped away from traditions that we once believed or participated in, and we come into something new and we're like, oh my gosh, well, I don't know if I want to just take on new traditions without really understanding or knowing why. So, um, one of the traditions, or two of the traditions that are observed for Shavuot, is eating dairy and eating honey, right? I love that. So Exodus 3:8, we are told, so I have come down to deliver them from the power of the Egyptians and to bring them up from that land to a good and spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. So right here we see about eating milk or drinking milk and eating honey, and it's the land flowing with that. And if we continue on with that, we already know that he's defeated all those enemies that we call him. So we get to enjoy in his feast. So it's a free ticket for you today during your celebrations for Shavuot, not today necessarily, but on Shavuot. It's a free ticket to eat butter and cheese and heavy cream. Of course, if you have any kind of dietary things going on, you're going to want to be mindful of that. There's ways that you can prepare some of the recipes with your own choices of what that milk product is, or even your sweetener. Okay. Or if you need to, leave the sweetener out or have very minimal. Use fruit if you can. And so in the cookbook, I put in some traditional recipes as well as some keto recipes, because with keto, you get to eat butter and milk and cheese and all of those things. And, I know most people think of keto as a way to lose weight, but it's also very good for managing certain medical conditions, because when you eat less than 50 grams of carbs a day, which is the keto way, your body runs eventually out of fuel, blood sugar, and it, you know, it uses it quickly. So that can take anywhere for, different people up to 3 to 4 days. And then what happens is you start to break down the protein and the fat for energy so that you can stay awake and do all the activities you're supposed to. And that can make you lose weight. So that's why, that's called ketosis. And that's why so many people, if you haven't jumped on the craze, so many people have. But it's important, I believe, to note that the ketogenic diet is to be short term. It's a diet that's focused on weight loss, but it needs to be short term because we want to work on our health benefits. Okay. So I'm just throwing that out there. I am not a subscriber of any one particular diet. I believe the Father gave us food to nourish us. And in my Hukmah Health, I teach about that as far as, what is the body's wisdom? How do we do this? How do we eat with wisdom? And so here we are. So you're going to find traditional as well as some keto recipes in there because I thought it would be fun. And another tradition that I thought was really neat is that they like to stay up and learn Torah during Shavuot. And I believe that comes from Psalm 19, 9 through 10. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true. They are righteous altogether. They are more desirable than gold, yes, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the drippings of the honeycomb. So right there, that is to me the joy of learning Torah as well as eating. It's sweet And that's why we eat honey on this day too, which, hey, I think honey's great for us. Again, moderation. Um, but it's fabulous. So many good health benefits. And I put some of that information in the cookbook as well. So what would we eat? Well, cheese, of course. Maybe perhaps crepes because we can make some good creamy filling to go in those crepes. That's something, or they call them blintzes. Even cottage cheese and sour cream, and there's terrific kugel recipes with sour cream and cottage cheese in them. Um, that the sky's the limit. We can make up all kinds of recipes to celebrate that day. So how can we keep this celebration healthy? Well, the ketogenic diet is very low carb, like I said. It's a diet that reduces the carbs, but replaces it with fats, good fats. And so it ultimately puts the body in that state of ketosis, which is just terrific for burning fat and keeping us going. Um, it was originally found to treat epilepsy. Wow. So that's a health condition that we could turn to that diet for a time to help with. And there's multiple more. Um, but what that does for the epileptic person is it helps to prevent seizures. And they've done studies on this. Um, so the fats that that they recommend are both saturated and unsaturated. So things like avocado and whole milk and mayonnaise, butter, fatty fishes, those are terrific things as well. Items like flour, sugar, fruits, they're not recommended on that diet. That's why I choose honey, or even a fruit, yes, but minimal. So if you're working on a certain health goal, then that's what you want to do. And hello, Misty. I'm glad you joined us. Hello. Um, so it's really good news for cheese lovers. Do we have any cheese lovers? I know my family loves cheese. We buy raw milk cheese and it is just delicious. It's also great for butter people, whipped cream, hard cheeses. Hard cheeses they say are lower in carbs. So your new best friend can be Parmesan cheese, right? Greek yogurts, cottage cheese, cream cheese, the soft cheeses, those are some tasty ones. And you're going to find I've got some really um, interesting and fun recipes in there. And I don't have a lot in there, so don't think there's going to be a ton of them because I didn't want to overwhelm everybody. If you're new to observing the feast, or if you just don't know what to do yet, you don't have to make it a burden. Remember, his burden is light, his yoke is easy, or the other way around. Okay. So, cottage cheese is an excellent source, excellent food for protein, and it's only got 5 grams of carbs, 5 fat, but it's got 12 of protein. So that's pretty good. So you can use a blender to make up some of these. You can use a food processor to make your consistency good. And I just think we're going to have fun. So let's get into some of the recipes. All right. So let's see. What do I have? Of course, we are going to make challah bread. We have to have challah bread for our wave offering for Shavuot. So we're going to want that. We're going to want our honey. So I've put together some breakfast recipes that you could change out to be lunch recipes or even dinner recipes, depending on what you're wanting. So for breakfast, I have yogurt filling for crepes or blintzes. And so this is an essential oil class, right? Well, we can cook with essential oils only if you're using a high quality, and of course, you know that I love doTERRA because of all the testing. And you might say, yeah, but other companies test too. Well, they may, but because of the business mindset, the direct sales aspect of it, we are under scrutiny all the time to make sure that the quality of our oils is what they say it is. And so over the years, I've been with them 12 years, it is that quality. Because if there's something that comes back with the reporting, the testing, they will not let us purchase it. And I think that's fabulous. So, what can we put in a Greek yogurt to make it delicious? Well, I love to add lemon or wild orange or tangerine. How about a cinnamon or cassia? Or even a ginger lime. So you see how I did the flavors there? So for a morning one, maybe you want something light like lemon or wild orange or cinnamon and cassia or cassia. But for lunch, you're feeling kind of Mexican and you want some ginger or lime, or maybe it's Asian and you put that ginger in there. So you can, kind of mix this up depending on what you're wanting to serve that day. Um, if you're a homeschool mom and you're teaching your children about different cultures, think about having some of these recipes that you can change up to introduce the culture to them in a very kinesthetic learning way. Um, so if you love savory crepes, you could make a rosemary lemon or basil with some spinach in there. I mean, there's just truly, the recipes are endless. So why would we use essential oils? Well, maybe we don't have some of the ones that you might need that you're craving, and we do have a Thai. We have a Thai blend, a Mexican blend, an Italian blend, and an Asian blend to make it super easy. But let's say you wanted to do a Asian one. Well, grab your clove, grab your ginger. Those are all terrific for Asian, or maybe you're Mexican and you want to add some cilantro and cumin. We have those oils, or lime. So the possibilities are endless. And that's why I put this in the breakfast, because that's the start of our day. So if I'm making a breakfast one, I might put the cinnamon or the cassia and put some fresh fruit with it and maybe sprinkle on a little bit of granola. And a different granola, we think of granola as perhaps oats and nuts and seeds. Love that. But what about taking some toasted coconut and some nuts and seeds? That makes it more ketogenic because now you've got coconut instead of the oats and less carbs. So there's lots of possibilities. You can add fresh fruit, couple berries, and you could drizzle that uh, Greek yogurt on top of the crepe. You can fill it with this the Greek yogurt mixture. Uh, so you're going to find that one in the cookbook. We also have uh, a recipe for einkorn flour crepes. So that would be more your traditional, right? And using that einkorn. And why? Because that's an ancient grain that if you haven't heard about it, go ahead, look it up, see what it is. Um, Einkorn grain is said to have lots and lots of nutrients in it, and it has become a lot more popular in more recent years. So that's something that you can look forward to and seeing in that cookbook. Now back to the ketogenic. How about some almond crepes with an almond flour? You can use that to make a crepe and still add your essential oil to it. Vanilla makes the flavor so delicious. And, essential oils, they are uh, antibacterial, antifungal. Um, they're good. We don't have to use a lot of that. You know, a cilantro is a very strong oil, so you might do a toothpick if you're putting it in that yogurt. But if you're using vanilla or lemon, you might want to add a drop or two to taste, see how it is. So you can put those oils right in the batter and cook it that way. And then you can have the oil in your Greek yogurt and put it in there that way as well. And what the oils do is they're kind of like a power packed, that antimicrobial aspect um, that is so good for our bodies. It's a way to support our bodies. And, food is good, right? Who is it? Hippocrates that said, let food be your medicine, right? So this is one way to incorporate that into our life. And I am going to check out some of these comments. Big bag of it right now. Yes. Going to need to see a little more info. We are going to send this out. We're going to have the link for the cookbook that you can get, and you can print it out. And yeah, it's going to be good. Love it. All right. So next crepe recipe, that coconut. That's a great way to get healthy fats into you as well. It's low carbs, so that can be an alternative, maybe for a sweeter, if you're doing that breakfast crepe, you could use the coconut, because to me, coconut is a little bit more sweet than the almond. So that's an idea. All right, so now let's get into our lunch. What do we have for lunch? Now, I didn't put a lot here. I put 2 recipes, and one of them is a dill veggie dip. Again, you're going to use that Greek yogurt, but you're going to use a dill oil and a little bit of lemon and garlic. Doesn't that sound delicious? And then you get to eat all those yummy vegetables with it. So you are giving yourself something so nutritious, so supporting to your body. Now think about that dill dip, because keep that in the back of your mind, because I've got a recipe in here for fish, white fish. Does anybody like fish? I know I do. Great way to get those good fats into our body. It's a delicious, delicious addition to your feast. So, and you're adding probiotics by getting all of this yummy uh, yogurt. So, and they're good for us. So you can change this up. You can change up your dill. Instead of using dill, perhaps you want to use one of those blends, making it a Thai blend, because the next recipe is, and I know some of us like it, some of us don't, but it's coleslaw, and it's a Greek yogurt coleslaw. So maybe your basic coleslaw recipe, but then you can change it up a bit, and I put some ideas in there. Some of the ideas is variations like adding pineapple and jalapenos. What about that? And maybe changing up and putting in a little bit of cinnamon with apples and craisins and sunflower seeds. Now, I love kimchi, so that's where you'd use that Asian blend and add some ginger and toasted sesame seeds or sesame oil, both. Oh, the variations. I want you to think, I hope to communicate and help you think outside the box too. So I've given some traditional along with some notes to change it up a little bit. All right. So now for dinner, remember I said about the fish, but first we've got, and this one's fun. Oh boy, Kimberly, I love it, because we were talking and she's like, well, what about a frittata? Oh my goodness. So I came up with the idea and she liked it. fridge clean out frittata. So I have a basic recipe, okay? It takes eggs and cheese. So there you're getting that dairy, the cheese, heavy cream or milk. And then look in your refrigerator. Take a step back. Look in there. And what do you have in there? Do you have some leftover meat that you could maybe throw in to a frittata? Or how about some leftover veggies that are already spiced up? Or maybe you need to use up some veggies because they're almost on their last leg and you need to get rid of them. So that's a great thing to do is take those things out of the fridge and put these together. And I've got a way to make infused olive oil that you're going to use with this to cook those vegetables, to add it to the meat, and then to put it in afterwards into the milk and cheese mixture and eggs. Okay, so here again, the possibilities are limitless. Let's say you had Mexican on Thursday and you're like, I really need to use this meat up. So go ahead, throw that Mexican meat in there and add your Mexican essential oil to that mix. And now you've got a great Mexican frittata. It's all about the cheese, the milk, or cream. Oh, it's delicious. Or perhaps, ooh, what about this? Corned beef and cabbage. You could throw that in your frittata. Italian, meatballs and tomatoes. Are you getting the idea? Let's mix it up. So I hope this makes it a little easier for you to just get out of the box. You got the basic recipe, throw in there what you like. Okay, so now to that fish. All right, so this is called butter and wine poach. It's poached fish and veggies, and we use 14 tablespoons of butter. We also, let's see. Okay, so that is the dairy in that one. Now, poach is so tasty, and it is as decadent as it sounds. Okay. Um, I grew up with browned butter for fish. Has anybody else had that? It is so delicious. So what I do is I brown my butter first in the pan, and then I add the rest of the ingredients. So then you throw in your wine because there is a quarter cup of wine, and that the alcohol content will burn off, so you don't have to worry about it. We want the flavor, and then you throw in your garlic, and then you cook your vegetables in that, and then the fish. Oh, let me tell you, ladies, it's delicious. And you use a white flaky fish here. So I don't know if you've heard of barramundi. That's delicious. Halibut, sea bass, whatever white flaky fish you really, really like. You could use grouper. Um, and there you go. You've got a tasty, tasty, tasty dinner dish. It could be lunch too. You could have some leftover crepes with that dinner. Okay, so now on to, we can't forget the dessert. Okay, now you are going to be so satisfied with these recipes because that's another aspect of eating your higher fat content. You're not going to eat as much. You might think, well, this isn't a lot on my plate, but because it's got all those good fats in there and things like that, you're going to be satisfied a whole lot quicker and easier. So dessert can be small and simple. And that's what I'm calling some of these desserts is simplicity is bliss. And you're using cottage cheese. That is something that like I have been seeing everywhere. Cottage cheese. Cottage cheese and coconut cream whipped up together, pureed. maybe with some fruit, berries of your choice. Here you can add your drop of lemon, your wild orange, your vanilla, depending on the flavor you want, and that is delicious. If you don't like coconut, you could use regular cream. Um, you could mix it up. Okay, so the next one is a creamy mango chia pudding. Doesn't that sound delicious? Do you love mango? Okay, maybe you don't love mango, but maybe you love strawberries. So you could use strawberries or blueberries. Um, what else? Oranges. Those little tiny oranges, you can peel those. I did that with my grandsons a month or so ago, and they had so much fun peeling the oranges and then mixing them up in my blender, and we made ice cream. It was just oranges. They loved it with a drop of lemon in there. Okay, so that chia seed pudding with mango, a tiny bit of honey, about a tablespoon of honey. If you need a little more sweetening, and why not put honey in there? You're going to get all those benefits from the honey, the antibacterial, it's lower glycemic. And our Father says it's good. You can take your word out, read your word, and taste some of that mango chia pudding. And I have lots of other recipes as well, but I didn't want to overwhelm it right here. But the next one is high protein chocolate pudding. Who doesn't love chocolate? Everybody loves chocolate, right? I do. So we've got cottage cheese, melted chocolate. You could use powdered cacao, um, vanilla essential oil, and what about peppermint? Make it a pepperminty one. And then you just blend those together and you've got a higher protein pudding. And you're only gonna, I should have brought my little cups in here. They're about this big and they're just about this big around, and they're the perfect size for that after dinner little sweetness. But here you've got something that you're only going to want a little bit because it's satisfying, very satisfying, and it's a healthier version of a dessert for you. And then, of course, we cannot forget about our cheesecake. Cheesecake for Shavuot, right? Like that's the staple dessert for Shavuot. So here I've got the best no-bake cheesecake. And of course, we've added some essential oils to it because why not? Vanilla, you can flavor, you could make it lemon, you could make it orange. How about, and then strawberries on top? Doesn't that sound delicious? And it's a no-bake one. So you've got some essential oils in um, the base, the crust, and then you've got some in the filling. So you've got some beautiful flavors here, perhaps cinnamon in that crust with a little bit of the lemon or vanilla. Oh, lemon brings out flavors. Did you know that? Lemon brings out flavors of our baking and foods. So it's why it's used so much. Um, and then, so with all of the fun foods that we've had for the day, you may find that you want to have a little digestive drink at the end of the evening. And we can use our essential oils in our drinks. We can mix up and have like a bitter with maybe some spritzer water. I have a soda stream, so I love to do the different flavors in there, a combination of or wild orange and grapefruit and lime and lemon. That's delicious. Soothing for our digestion. Put a little bit of ginger in there. But the drink that I have for you is mango lassi, or that's what I used to call it, but I read that it's actually Lucy or Lousy. I'm butchering it. I know. Maybe somebody can help me out here. But that is with coconut milk. You could use almond milk. Don't be scared to change up what the ingredient is, and then you're going to use that honey, a little bit of honey Greek yogurt maybe, or you could leave the honey out and just use plain yogurt, Greek yogurt. And then I've got rose water. Now it's only a teaspoon, but I give you the directions on how to make rose water using your essential oils. And you can use that rose water for other things too. How about in your coffee? Yum. We had that when we were on our vacation last year out west. We had a rose flavored coffee. It was delicious. Never heard of it before. But what we put in this mango Lucy, I don't know, is cardamom oil, and that is terrific for digestion. If you've got some digestion going on, you're going to want to have some of that. So you've got those two in there. And then the next one is, have you heard of horchata? Does anybody like horchata? I love it. It's delicious. My son actually introduced this to me. He's like, Mom, you've got to try this. It's so good. It's rice, uncooked, and I give the recipe in there. And you can use cinnamon sticks. And then at the end, add your vanilla essential oil, maybe a drop of clove or ginger. And then again, that little tiny bit of honey I mean, this makes a lot. So if you're having a gathering, you can even serve this throughout the day. And it's just a light, refreshing drink. But you can have it in the evening as well to kind of wind down the day and help that digestive process, you know, as we go to bed. And then what else do we have? Of course, a challah bread recipe. And it is a sourdough challah bread recipe. It's not your traditional sourdough, but it is using the sourdough starter for your challah bread. And it is delicious. And that is not my own recipe. I am including the website so that you can go there and look at it. But I do put the ingredients and the directions in the cookbook, but I put that website there so that you could go and maybe check out some more of her recipes. And then I talk about at the end, for those people who have the digestive things going on, what can we do? A bit about food sensitivities because, food can inflame us. It can cause problems that we just, we may not realize it's a certain food we're eating at the moment, but we get symptoms. And so I talk about a little bit about food sensitivities and what can be done to help with that. And then my 4R program, what that is, you'll get to read about that. And then of course, you know, digestive enzymes. They're so important. And I don't know about you all, but I don't always eat raw foods every single day like I should because that's where the enzymes are in that raw food. When we begin to cook our food, then they become distorted or even die off. And as we age, we're born with a storehouse of enzymes, but as we age, that depletes over time. So it's important I talk about that in here. And then probiotics are probiotics because we need good bacteria for so many reasons in our gut. Our pregnant moms, they need that good bacteria in there towards the end of their pregnancy. Think group B strep. Yes. So lots of different information about that, how to get the probiotics in. And then if you need a little digestive health, boom, right now, because you're eating all that dairy. And maybe for your body, it's a lot. And like I say, you can use some alternatives with the recipes. If it calls for heavy cream, maybe think coconut cream if you like coconut cream. There's different yogurts. There's almond yogurt. There's oat yogurt. There's oat milk. I know we want to do the dairy, so maybe you're okay with a little bit of butter, and you can use that butter in your recipes. So don't get freaked out about it. There's always alternatives. Give me a call, text. I will put my number here if you don't already have it so that you can you can do send me a text. Hey, can we meet up? Can we chat next time? You know? And I'm looking to see how I can do that. Hey Linda, I just saw you're on here. Um because I know you may have some questions. How do I eat all this dairy and still feel good? How do I do this? So, yeah. All right. We are going to open it up to questions. I know I didn't talk a lot about the medicinal properties of the oils. That can be another class, but there's so many benefits to each specific oil. And the benefit of it, you all have listened, or maybe you haven't, you're new. Go back and listen to some of my pre-recorded videos on how we use the essential oils for our emotions for the month we're in. You could do that from here following forward. Listen to this one and listen to another one. How do I use cinnamon for my emotions? What does it do for my emotions? How can we do this? Um, you know, there's I probably cover each essential oil in here: the wild orange, the lemon, the vanilla, cinnamon, cassia, your more savory oil flavors, thyme and sage and oregano, all of those. So if I haven't covered one and you want to know about it, send me a text. Let me know. I can get that to you. All right. So